Hello and welcome to this presentation where I will be introducing a tool that I have developed to help the development of complex missions in IL2 Battle of Stalingrad. So, the problem that I'm trying to solve is that editing things in the mission editor requires a lot of clicking. So let me take a specific example. Let us say that I want to create a mission where I will have 5 groups of 3 tanks that follow each other. So the question here is that you might ask, why 5 groups of 3 tanks and not 15 tanks in one group? The reason for that is that the big groups of tanks in the game don't behave very well. The problem is that when the leader of the group gets killed, destroyed by an anti-tank gun, for instance, then the next tank is going to move to the location of the tank that just got destroyed and take its place. And the problem is that what happens in this occasion usually is that this new tank gets destroyed too. So you can have entire tank groups of many tanks that just get destroyed one after another because of this rather stupid behavior. So I'll be using a solution to this problem here to illustrate the tool that I have developed. So instead of having this large group of tanks, I will have several groups of 3 tanks. Now the problem, and all these groups will be following a path and go to the battlefield, trying to liberate German forces in Veliki Luki. So the problem though is that if I do these groups of 3 tanks, they will likely collide with each other while traveling. So tanks within a group are smart enough to not collide with each other most of the time. But vehicles from different groups, on the other hand, ignore each other and they might run into each other. So that happens especially when traveling in a column on a road, for instance, when the first group slows down for whatever reason. So the solution here is quite simply to add a proximity trigger between all pairs of groups, so that you stop one of typically the one which is behind, you stop the later group until the distance has increased and the front group has moved on far enough. Now, the problem with this approach is that it requires a lot of copying. So if you have, say, 5 groups, for instance, that means that the first group will need 4 triggers with the 4 other groups. The second group will need 3 triggers with the 3 other groups, and so on. So in total, you will for 5 groups you will need 10 such triggers and the logic associated with it. In general, it grows quadratically with the number of groups. So if you have 10 groups, for instance, then you will need, if I have counted right, 45 such triggers with associated logic. And the problem with that is that once you have this 45 triggers, if you notice that there is a bug in one of these triggers, then you have to do the fix in all 45 groups, and that's no fun. So what I do here is that I have defined a little template mission which contains the ingredients of the final mission. So here's my group of 3 tanks with their waypoints. An order here to form into an off-road column when they come here, and then on-road column when they come here. There's also these 2 additional orders here which are not triggered by anything at the moment, which will order the group of tanks to stop because it has become too close to the previous group, or a previous group, and continue after the previous group has moved on far enough. And here's some logic to activate the group. Initially, these tanks are disabled. And here's some commands and triggers that are not connected to anything. Their use will become clear later. So what I have developed is basically a parser for mission files, which allows you then to combine elements from these mission files in a program, in a programmatically way. So here is my script that generates the mission. I'm not going to comment it line by line. I will provide a link to it. You can look at it. There are comments. The interesting thing to note, though, is that if there is a bug somewhere, then all it takes is go change the line or fix the bugs in this script, and then run the script again, and you get a new fresh mission. So I'm going to run this script here. What I do is simply select. This is an F# script, by the way, and I'm using Visual Studio to develop the script. Select all the lines and tell the interpreter to run all of these. So you have to wait a few seconds to get the result. That should be it. Then you go to the mission editor, because the final step to build a mission still needs to be done manually. Probably something that will change in the future. So here is the mission that combines all the things. I'm going to remove what I already have, what I built previously. So the thing that this mission contains is the start time, for instance, and the terrain that is used, the map that is used, and here's some plane for the player. This will be a single player mission. So to import what I've just computed, I will use the import from file function. My script created a group, and voila, here is my group. So it's not obvious, but there are actually 3 groups here. They are all on top of each other, so that's why you don't see them too well. See here, if I move them, I see that there are indeed groups under. So that's why they all start disabled initially, so that they don't spawn on top of each other. So I have one more thing to do here, is that this is the timer that starts the entire thing. Here you can see actually there are here are all the proximity triggers, and there are lots and lots, of them. I don't want to deal with these things manually. So I'll just add a mission start, mission begin, connect it to this timer. I'm going to make it a bit longer. 1 second might be too short for loading all the models. And basically I'm done. So all I have to do now is copy my mission to a place where it can be loaded by the game and start the game. See you in a minute. And welcome back. We are now in the game, and we'll be running our little mission here and see if the tanks behave as they are supposed to. And hopefully the mission will be syntactically correct, and the game will be able to load it. That will be the first thing. And here it is. Nothing on the map. Starting in a plane that I'm not actually going to fly. I'm just going to let time pass and go find my tanks. They will spawn after 15 seconds, so I have to let a bit of time pass. That should be it. And here are my tanks. So the first group has spawned after 15 seconds and is moving towards the road. Alright, let's speed it up a bit, and after some time the tanks will reach the first waypoint, and that will trigger the spawn of the second group. There should be 5 groups in total. They are coming close to the path. The second group should, and the second group just spawned. You can see them in the distance here. They start moving. The first group is now ordering itself in an off-road column. It will be driving into this this way cleared in the forest towards the road. Second group is following the same path. It has a copy of the waypoint, so it's another advantage of being able to use this system is that now actually it becomes possible to spawn groups of tanks. This is a feature that people have wanted to have. Is that spawning groups is something that doesn't work because they spawn as individual tanks, not as a group. But you can have the same effect basically by just making many copies of your group and enabling the group instead. So this is what is happening here. We have 3 groups enabled. And something is not working for some reason. So let's go and fix the bug now. You see that the first group has stopped. I'm not sure why. We'll go and check that out. So I think I know what the problem is. If you remember in the video, the first group actually stopped. That was weird. So what happened is that I stopped the wrong group, quite simply. And the fix here could be simply to swap my 2 groups in the pair. Let us see. The code that does this actually here. You see in group 1, group 2. I'd add an object and an object linked between P, which is a proximity trigger, and the 2 leaders of the group. And then I add a target link from the proximity trigger to the order that stops the second group. So the second group is the one, in this case, that has to have the larger index, because the smaller the index, the later the group is. And here the mistake that I did is that I did the other way around. So if the one that is being stopped is the second one in the group, then indeed I is always larger than j, so it should be this one. So I had my pair swapped in the wrong order. So all I have to do is save, and rerun my script. And when it's done, it should have fixed the problem. So I still have now to start the editor again and redo just the top level of the mission. Yeah, that was the wrong mission. That was the template that was doing. Maybe I will do another change as well while I'm here. I noticed that actually when my tanks are driving here, they're supposed to follow this this path here. But if we look at the straight line between this path and this path here, they will cut through the forest here. That's not very nice. So let's just add a waypoint. Several waypoints maybe. That's it, and this one should lead here. I think I will change the speed as well. They're supposed to be driving at 30 kilometers an hour, this section here. Oh, they are already 30, 30, 30. Alright. Or maybe they will cut through this section of the forest, so that's not good either. Let me also add a few waypoints there. Okay, now the path should be a little bit better. But since I made a modification to my mission here, I will have to rerun my script here. I have to be careful about the name that I gave also my trigger waypoints so that they're not mistaken for the first one here, which has a bit of a special role. But yeah, they're all called trigger waypoint something, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Beginning my mission. Removing the old group, importing it again. All of this could also be done automatically, of course, and will be done eventually. So here I see that I have indeed my new path. I have just to remember to add the mission begin again and change the timer value. Alright, and now start the game again. See you when that's done. Welcome back again. Running the mission again. Our first group has just formed into a off-road column and is now moving pretty slowly. I'm not sure exactly why these ones are driving slowly and the ones behind are driving faster, but that fits my demonstration needs here. Everybody should be driving at 30 kilometers an hour, but well. So let's see what happens now when the group of 3 behind gets closer, too close. Nothing happening yet. And see, now they come a little too close, so they stopped. The limit I think is 250 meters. So they stop and wait for the first group to get further away. The third group, there's also a third group behind. It's moving. Second group gets moving again. The third group came a little too close to the second group, so they had to stop. But almost immediately the second group gets far enough and the third group can start over. But then the second group has to stop again because the first group is kind of being slow. And the third group then is catching up with the second group, stops also. And when the first group is far ahead enough, the second group starts again. And soon the third group will be able to continue its traveling. And I'll just keep doing that all the way. And here I see the path is not quite perfect yet because my tanks still drive into trees. So a small adjustment to the path will be done. But the nice thing to do here is that the nice thing about this is that I can just change the path in my template, and then all the copies will be corrected, so I don't need to do it 5 times, once for each group. And here you see the third time has reached the point where the fourth group gets spawned. The third group had to stop because it came too close to the second group, which is also driving slowly now. But basically, you get the principle. So this tool that I have added is opening the door to write more complex missions that would be very tedious to create by hand. It also makes it much easier to maintain these missions, because once you find bugs, you just need to fix the bug once, basically, and then all copies of the groups that use the same code will use a fixed version. And you can see, by the way, that there is a new bug in this version, because the proximity handling between I think it's the third and the fourth group did not work, so we'll have to check that out and understand what's going on there. So, the joys of developing missions. But hopefully now it's going to be a lot less tedious to fix bugs and handle larger amount of vehicles and things in missions in general. Well, that was it for this demonstration. I will post the link of to the tools. I will also post a message in the official forums about where you can download this software and use it. In order to use it, you need to make yourself. You don't need to know every detail of the programming language that I'm using, F#. Shouldn't be too hard to learn the basics to get the mission, to get yourself going and working from examples. Well, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and bye for now.